Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. I'm Kelly Brickle, and it is our reading show today. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to be doing readings later on, numerology readings, pop down your birth date and your numbers, pulling some cards, feeling into things clairvoyantly, clairsentiently, and just using the senses to pull forth information. So that's the show, sharing the gifts. And then right beforehand, we talk, about just life. And we talk about looking at things from a different perspective, whether it's one you already have maybe, or just a different angle on it. Hi, Kevin. Hello, everybody coming in. Hello. So some of the concepts that I wanted to talk about were about complexity and simplicity. And I think that we are so overstimulated. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Terry. We're so overstimulated. And it's so important to kind of talk about overstimulation because I think people who are sensitive are just naturally overstimulated. And then we have a world full of so much technology. We're juggling. There's so many things. Just even like around your house or around environments that you're at, do you find that you're overstimulated by your environment? Just the one that you're in? Is there just too much stuff? Are things like not in order? Your schedule, how's your schedule? Right? Energetically, how's your body? Does it feel like everything's getting taken care of? Is it in order? So there's just so many different overlays, right? Even the aura of how's your energy, how's your life, how's what surrounds you, how's your friends, how's your family, what are you getting overwhelmed by? And I promise you it's a boatload of something. Right? Like we're always trying to return to balance, and we're always trying to learn about what's what with what is around us on our everyday, life mission. But when we just step back for a second, we are very commonly overwhelmed. And then again, we have so much more, I think, in the past kind of 10 years with technology giving us all these pings additionally. It's beautiful for communication, I think, technology. It's beautiful for creation. It's beautiful for a lot of things, but it has increased our load of what we uptake every day. We receive, we receive, we receive. And if you're sensitive, you naturally are a receiver rather than foremost the projector, probably in your life. So the need for simplicity actually goes up the more your uptake for complexity goes up. So the more information you're taking on, or the more chaos within your life, the more simplicity principles that you need, or shedding, cleansing. That's why we talk about healing so much in spiritual development, psychic mediumship. A lot of us become healers because we have had to learn to manage our energy because we felt overwhelmed and we're like, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And we find that other people are feeling these things too. So it's super important to talk about. But the shedding is so important, and the releasing. So I talk about it often. You'll hear me talk about like salt baths, right? To cleanse, or, reorganize your house, rearrange your furniture, do a spring cleaning. There's so many things to do. And, we're all human. It's not just like, you haven't done this, what are you doing? We're all human. I'm working on stuff too. But it's very, very important. to have these concepts in your life. And some of you will find that you gravitate more towards healing work once you start to like shed and release and to understand about your sensitivities from that level of saying, I am taking on too much. And so I do really recommend, um, and it just personifies how overstimulated we are. If there's a way to, you don't even have to meditate as I put this like idea out here, but if there's a way to, let's say, turn off your phone for an hour or turn off all technology for an hour. Um, if you need an emergency alert or something, I guess you can set up your phone if needed. I would even suggest longer than an hour, but I know people, are connected through technology and that is important. But if there's a way during the day, not even at night when things are already unwinding, but during the day, if you could just shut it off for an hour or after you get home from work, shut it off for an hour before it's too close to bedtime. How difficult is that? And I would imagine for most people, it is extremely difficult. Conceptually, for some, even like, hey, like that's how I decompress. I look at videos, or that's how I decompress. I learn about things, or that's how I decompress. I watch things on my device, right? Whether it's movies or TV or like a video game. I bet that's a very like tall order. Or for people who, let's say, want those things and say, I need a break. Well, you'll find yourself being pulled away from actually doing it because there's so much repetition and just consuming and there's like dopamine releases as you're doing those things. So on one hand, you know it's positive with how it helps our relaxation, but on the other hand, we every day do we really need it? Every day do we really need it? At every moment at our fingertips. And I promise you, if you need it at every moment at your fingertips, or if you find yourself like not even needing it, but you find yourself constantly scrolling whenever you have a free minute, one, you're not in your own energy because you're in reactivity of something that gives you pleasure or, satisfies that moment of, let's say, quiet or that moment of, I don't know what to do. And another thing is you find that, you're just constantly consuming, constantly consuming. And when you are receiving as a highly sensitive person, it's good to receive from multiple sources. And we've made our primary source technology, which again, there's nothing wrong with technology. It's just when we have too much consumption from one source, it gets our energy becomes unbalanced. It's like having too much of one food or, seeing constantly one person. So you're obsessed with one person, you know? It's just the consumption level and the type. So I just want to give you some food for thought. If you can take a personal challenge of shutting off all devices for just 1 hour, see how difficult or how easy it is. And I do that a lot with whether it's meditation, this doesn't have to be meditation, or whether it's like different exercises. I'm a big firm believer of just trying something out and then whether it's your body, your mind, or your emotions, talking about that or sitting with those thoughts. It could be with yourself or like someone else who's interested or encouraging, like a teacher. And you talk about just those very basic things. Was it simple? Was it difficult? And you find so much about yourself because if it's simple, wow, okay, you have this strength that you find that if you give yourself a directive, you follow through. So what else can you do that with? You could probably be in super co-creation mode if you want, possibly. You could be honestly on top of even more goals. What do you want to do? If it's difficult, okay, cool. Like your brain needed a reset, your body needed a reset. And what are you looking to have that you feel like technology gives you for a moment? It sounds very simple, but when we stop and have these moments within ourselves, we kind of go, oh my gosh, what are the bare bones of my life and how is my energy working? And it's really, really important. That's why also when we get into the classes, right, we have like spiritual teachers or we're developing with our psychic and mediumship. We go to group environments where we go to a teacher we trust and we try out exercises. And some of them are going to be super easy and some of them are going to be super hard. And it's not to beat ourselves up, it's to kind of understand why. Why am I naturally just awesome at this? Am I naturally having difficulty with this? What does that mean? Right? How can I modify? How can I change? How can I grow? And I do think like that life is just so important with that curiosity. You'll be forever growing with curiosity. Okay, let's go into some conversation with people coming in. I want to say hello to Keith and Aaron and Kara and Jessica, Alicia. Hello, everyone coming in. Okay, let's see. Let's see. People are ready for readings. And Keith is talking about how he just changed his bedroom around. Excellent. Um, Super important. Someone who I'm a big fan of, her name is Denise Lynn. She's a multifaceted woman. She's been teaching, healing, feng shui, coaching, um, energy work for years, over 20 years easy. I wish I could tell you exactly. But her name's Denise Lynn, and she has like books. She frequently does classes. A lot of times with Celebrate Your Life, where she does things on her own too. She has a school. I'm singing her praises. But one of her backgrounds is like feng shui, all right, and shamanism. Okay. And so she's a huge proponent where she invites people to clear their space, renew their energy, refresh their energy. So it's like just the most simplest things you can think of, like clean your sheets, or if there's a blanket on a couch, even if it's clean, if it has been there for a while, renew the energy, right? So it's just like wash the energy or put it in a different place in the house, and to have simplicity a lot of times in a lot of the rooms. So once you go into that room, you know the functionality of that room, you feel the energy of that room, and so everything within your life starts to serve you, especially if it's like your own environment, your sacred space, your house or your apartment. It's so important to make things sacred, and we really infuse energy into environments and objects. And we have the most control over our environment if we are the only ones in a room, let's say, or if we have some mastery or domain over where we live. We have enormous potential to actually reset our energy and amplify our energy in certain spaces. So, if you share a room, I always talk about have a corner, have a certain section of the room. If you have your own room, like that is your chance, or if you have several rooms that you can make your own, that's your chance to really put your mark on the place. Like, with it's not just about color and decoration, of course it is, because it's awesome and it makes you feel a certain way and it represents the energy that you want, but it's about putting a lot of thoughts and manifestation and co-creation into the room. And you say, this is how this room serves me, it protects me, it heals me, it amplifies me. And if that room is built up with those intentions, whether or not you want someone to walk into your own space or not, but people will feel that. And it absolutely does support you. I know, like growing up, I really tried to amplify my room, and I always felt like it was like this temple for me. Like, it always felt really calm, felt really serene. It felt safe for me to be there. Now, I didn't own the house when I was younger. Of course, your parents own the house. So it's not like I could be like, everybody stay out. But it really, really supported me. And I had like some family come over or friends come over sometimes, of course. And the ones who are really sensitive energy would be like, wow, your room feels like so peaceful, so good. I'm like, oh, thank you. And I would take that as a compliment. I would take that more as a compliment of how it looked, um, but rather how it felt as the highest compliment. And I really wanted to make my room look rather lovely too. So it goes a long way. It goes such a long way. And I know I'm gonna wrap it up and then we're gonna go to readings. I know that when I'm overstimulated and distracted, like I'm so much in my mind. Okay. A lot of this work is about understanding your mind, talking about what's going on in your mind, calming your mind, balancing your mind, having compassion with your mind, right? And I know that I'm so overstimulated and my mind is so active that I'll forget about my body. I'll forget about my physical surroundings, even. And that's a thing, everyone. It really, really, really is a thing. When you're so much in your mind or you're so much in your spirit and your emotions and you're looking at and feeling things with different eyes. And you know, just from a device standpoint, you will be in your head and you will forget how the energy serves around you, or you'll forget to do things in the physical, right? And our body is so physical. I always talk about it. So we start to become very unbalanced, or we just forget and we overlook things because the majority of our reality is in this mental space, within this mental construct of our thoughts, our ideas, our learnings. And life will feel kind of jarred and kind of again, quite unbalanced if we are so much in our minds, whether we're in, let's say, crazy meditation, whether we're in pain or fear or anger and we're just cycling in our head, or whether we're just on devices and in distractions where we are in our mind so much. So I really invite you to simplify your life, step back, cleanse, take care of your body, and see how easy it is. And whether it's easy or not, it's going to teach you something about yourself. And at the end of the day, we have to take care of our environment. We have to take care of our body. And so if you find yourself fighting to put extra attention on things that are so important, it is super, super imperative to understand your health, your value, your worth, and where your mind's at. So, with that said, hey, Diet. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Jamie Lynn. And then, hey, Eve. It's nice to see everybody. I love when people come on in. I really do. I really, really, really do. All right, let's go into readings, everybody. I'm going to take some numbers and I'm going to take some feelings and cards, and we'll decide how we want to read. Let's see. I love the numbers, though. Sometimes I'm in the mood for numbers, and the past couple weeks I really have been. So I think One was first with how she popped things down. One. Okay. She says, okay. She's open to a reading. Excellent. All right. Good morning to you, too. Let's do the numbers. Okay, One, you're in attitude 2, your personal day 3, and you are a life path 3, and you're in a cycle of 9. Okay. So, One, as an attitude 2, let me just describe it. So, an attitude number is kind of the way we perceive things, we feel things. It's the way that we communicate. It's a very important number. And you're a 2. And 2s are very, very sensitive energies. They deal with like psychic energy, empathic energy. They deal with a lot of sensitivity in the body and the emotions. Okay. So, anxiousness or nervousness is something that's felt at a very young age, even from people, let's say, like your grandparents, if they happen to be an attitude too, like back in the day where things weren't so sensitive, they actually would be prone to these emotions because 2 is such a sensitive number, especially in this placement with how you receive energy from others. And so I always talk about with 2s, they will find avenues or places where they can kind of just get away and recharge. Or sometimes they just will be a little bit prone to being alone more often because they get overwhelmed so easily. And so this is really an invitation to have things a little bit more quieter and to have validation where you need to, like, put down parameters of, hey, like, I need things in this way to feel like it's a good day. Or I need things in this way to feel like, I'm comfortable. You have to have those conversations with some people for sure, because they don't feel things on such a high level that you do. Empathy is off the charts in this placement. And then additionally, you have to also be really, really aware of how other people are influencing you and start to learn about yourself versus other people. Okay. So I like to talk about the different placements. Okay. So for instance, a life path 2 will feel the energy of 2 differently than attitude 2, if anyone is wondering. Okay. Life path 2 will deal with sensitivities, but in a very quite different capacity with how it affects their life. There's still overlapping things at hand. But for you, One, that too is so important because I've seen a lot of people like start to avoid social situations be- because sometimes their anxiety or their health suffers, and it's just because they are so sensitive with dealing with people in social situations. And these people normally, because they are so empathetic, are actually very natural with people because they know when someone's telling the truth, or they can feel the energy of someone else, so they actually know their needs, or they know what kind of person they're like most often. So it's not that people aren't for you and you're not good with people. And in fact, you're supposed to be around people. You just need like additional boundaries and considerations because of these high sensitivities. So I just want to like let you know about that. And then you're a life path 3 and a personal day 3. And so well, let me do your personal day first. As a personal day number, this is like your most outer energy. And so as a 3, you attract people to you. You attract people to you very naturally. And 3 is the friendliest number in numerology. So it's like it's very extroverted, it's very gregarious, it's very social. Okay. So some of these things that I mentioned with the attitude too are so imperative for these reasons. And your life path is a 3. So your life path as a 3 means whatever you do in life, you're actually supposed to be around people. You really are. Now, the internet makes us be around people in kind of, more unique ways, right? I'm around a lot of people right now, but I'm in a room in solidarity. So there's kind of fun with that. But as a 3, you're made to use your voice. You're made for other people to hear you. You're made to have communication skills where you can make sure things are clear and people are helped through the way that you make them feel and through the clarity of your voice. Very, very important. So, in this placement, you're supposed to actually be in some type of job where you are, let's say, leading meetings, making presentations, or if you're really creative, writing, singing, comedy, something with the arts. Okay. So, entertainment, it's about communications or entertainment when you have a life path 3 number. Music also, but that's in entertainment, so hopefully that sheds light. So you're in a cycle of 9. A cycle of 9 is good. I would have to see more of your numbers, but it is good for your numbers. But cycle 9s are a little bit of a heavy year because you are basically going a million miles per hour. Things are kind of flying at you. A lot of things get done. Don't get me wrong. It's actually a very productive year, a 9 year, but you'll find that as you're getting things done, you'll be like, I need a break, or wow, I'm feeling more tired, or wow, there's so much change around me. I don't feel even quite like the same person. So the 9 energy is about reaching the end of a cycle, and you'll be doing a lot of shedding, but you won't have time really even to process most of it. And sometimes situations with family change or friends change in this year. And a lot of times it's about making peace with family. and we make peace with ourselves, and we can make peace with ourselves on things based on 10 years, 20 years even, and we see things in a really a different perspective. And a lot of times family comes into play because family really shaped how we first were when we came into the world and some of our identity. So it's going to be a good year, but it's going to be a very busy year. And make sure there's a lot of self care because it's a heavy year. Okay. You're really sensitive, but you're supposed to be around people. So boundaries, 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 and go out there and use your voice. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's go to another person. Where are we? Where are we? So Aaron going to 920 90. Okay, cool. 920. So, oh, I love it. This frequently happens on the psychic hour or any place I go. Guess what? Aaron, you're an attitude two as well. So, what I was saying for One applies to you as well because you have the same placement as the two. Awesome. Personal day two. And then you are a life path 5 and you're in a cycle of 3. Okay. That's right. Yep, that's right. Okay. So take note, Aaron. When someone has an attitude too, it's very, very important that they manage their emotions around people, or you really have to ask yourself, how much do I want to learn about people? How much do I want to feel? And a lot of people with an attitude too, they will go into some type of class or some type of like conventional or non-conventional understanding about emotions to actually process and function optimally. So some people go into some psychology classes, or like let's say they start reading about psychology a little bit more than the average person, or about energy and empathy, energy healing, even, right? Because you're like, what is going on with me? So I encourage that. And a lot of times when I talk to attitude two people, that's the number one way that they can get a handle on, like just feeling all the feelings that they in different places they go. And just it's important to take breaks. Now, you're an attitude 2, but you're a life path 5. And so 2 and 5 are opposites. The 2 is quite sensitive, we talked about, and the 5 is actually it wants to be overly stimulated. The 5 wants variety. The 5 wants intrigue. The 5 wants to feel as much as it can feel and explore as much as it can explore. And life is kind of like a party, okay? And for 2, if that happened, they would be screaming the whole entire ride because they'd just be like, "Oh my gosh, you didn't see that? That didn't bother you? What about this? What about that?" And the 5 is like, "Don't worry about it. Just have fun. Don't worry about it." Right. And the 2 is so feeling based, and the 5 is so mental and physical based that they have very different directors. So when I see 2 and 5 in someone's chart, I know that there's like an internal struggle at times with how do I function optimally? Because there's a part of me that is exhausted, and there's another part of me that just feels like I'm on caffeine all the time. And, I don't want to be just isolated. I want to be having fun, but I'm aware that if I have too much fun or if I overdo it, that I just feel so fried. So there is like this interesting nature of the 2 and 5, and you have to find your unique balance, and it's not going to be typical balance. It's going to be like, hey, at certain times and in certain situations, I'm going to honor that I need these things, but I know that if I push it, I'm going to feel like this. At certain times and in certain situations, I'm going to need this, but if I get intuition that this doesn't serve me at this time, I really got to listen to this. So you're very you're very unique in your needs, and you really need to pay attention to that compass because you actually need both in order to be happy. Like you need to be out in the world and you need to have your alone time. And it's not just one size fits all for you. It's just not. Okay? So, I want to give that to you. And on personal day too. So, again, that's like the kind of the most outer shell number. When someone's a personal day too, they come across initially as having this softness, this femininity. And it works well actually in dating, or it works well within marriage because someone wants to actually take care of you with these numbers when they feel it, because you feel like, so gentle. And in work and in career, it's important that you actually step up, articulate, and demonstrate your capabilities, because people actually will feel like taking care of you, or they'll feel like, hey, maybe you're going to have trouble with this or that. So it's very important to assert yourself, because you come into the world with that first initial hit, with that softness, with that femininity, with that feeling that makes people feel that from you, rather than um how much you can get done, cuz wow, you can get a lot done. Like, you pick up so many details and you can run with things, and it's just like boom boom boom, you can get so much done. And you typically do have a lot of energy, other than at the times that I talked about when you're overdoing it and you really do crash. So, you're in a cycle 3. That's a good um it's a fantastic cycle for you. Again, I'd have to see all your numbers, but it really goes harmonious with the numbers that you have now. And 3 is all about opportunities. It's about meeting new people, making friends. It's about putting yourself out there, and it comes quite easily. And it's a year of fun. It's a year of fun, and a year of getting out and about, and like really good surprises with who you find. Okay. So I'm going to give that to you, Aaron, and hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Let's go. Where were we going? Oh, that's really nice. Someone says today's intro was so needed. Thank you. You're welcome, Jesse Cat. Um, Kelly, I know I always ask for Jenner, but I wanted to ask a question, please, and thank you. What do I need to work on? What do you need to work on? Sure, let's pull some cards. Okay. Let's see. Pulled a lot of cards. Sometimes I just feel like pulling one or five. We got 5 cards. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So a lot of what I'm getting is kind of, you said yourself, you're like, I really gravitated to this topic. And I'm getting a mixture of things pertaining to simplicity, and also surrendering expectations. Okay. So, on one hand, I'll talk about the simplicity first. It's kind of like, hey, like, where's your focus? Whether it's journaling or meditation, where's your focus? Because that will honestly be your compass. And then you don't have to overthink things. You just know where you're going. You know what your intention is. And then I got the Me Talks card. And so that's all about detoxing, right? And releasing things that are just too much. We talked about that, right? And then I got the Winter's Dream card and the Will of the Wisp card. And so these were upside down. So they're letting me know that, you're taking on too much. And also that, there's all this information coming to you, but since you're overwhelmed, you can't digest it properly. You can't kind of work with it properly. And you're wondering, what can I do? What can I do? How can I be better? And really, like, just simplify. And really, so I got the vanishing mirror too. And that's about just surrendering and letting things go. And really, I find that when I am returning to the most basic needs, like for myself or the people, let's say, who rely on me for certain things. If I find myself accomplishing things like within the house or, cooking dinner or going for a walk or doing things on the most basic level, I start to come back into my body and I start to come into a place where I'm like, okay, what are just the basic things that are important? Because I'm getting too much into my head of I need to do this, I need to do that, and I'm running myself like rampant and I'm exhausting myself of all the things I think I should be doing. And granted, some of those things are really important. So write them down and make sure your intention is strong with them, because sometimes we need a break and sometimes we need a reset and then we just come back to them. But we don't come back to them in a tizzy, or we don't come back to them going, gosh, I lost all that time. Like I needed to be doing this, because it's, you know what you need to be doing, and you just take this, you just take this break and you go back to it. And it's as simple as that. And since you were in that awareness and you gave yourself the reset, there's no discord because you're taking care of yourself. Okay. So take care of your mind, focus that intention. That's the whole like eye of the needle vibration and the detoxing, and focus on just the most important priorities, but make sure that you're journaling and being in touch with you as you do it. Okay. Do what you need to do to strengthen who you are with your environments, with your soul, and make sure that all that energy in your mind is really dropping down into your body. In mediumship, a lot of times, in order to have that connection with spirit, you have to drop down. You have to drop the energies down into your solar plexus. You have to drop the energies down and stabilize, and really ground with your root chakra. And then you move that energy further so that you can actually open up to the spirit world. But really, the people who are the strongest within mediumship, they're incredibly grounded people with how they run their energy and utilize their energy. So I want to give you that perspective. And the vanishing mirror one is basically just like let go your expectations and focus on your goals, focus on what's important to you. And when you have time to do that, and when you have a moment to really devote to not to think, but just do, that starts coming together, because it's not about how things seem or look. It's not about if I could only be this. It's just about if you're happy and if you're enjoying life, and then you're just building on making sure you can have more of that. Like for instance, like with the psychic hour, this makes me happy, but if I didn't have some other things in place, I would just be like a nervous wreck all the time, and I actually wouldn't be fully enjoying my time on the psychic hour because I don't have other things in place. Now I'm always working on that, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm always working on getting things more into foundational place. But yeah, if certain things are in place, you just get overrun and anxious. So don't worry about how they look. Just build on what makes you strong. Okay? So that's what I'm getting. Okay, One says thank you. Absolutely, One. Aaron says thank you so much. And then Jessie Cat says, I'm very overwhelmed. Yes, so many things in my head and things to do. Yeah. We Especially right, we talked about early in the show, especially right now within the world, there's so much overstimulation within our mind. So much overstimulation within our mind. Breathe, drop into your heart, drop down into your body, drop down into the energy of your feet. Um, just look around at your surroundings. I know when I start moving around, walking around, and start doing chores in my house, I ground. Sometimes not quickly, but I ground pretty efficiently. So we need more stuff like that. Okay. She says, "Thank you. As always, I'll start the detox for sure." Yes, please. Yeah. It's just the salt and detox helps my anxiety, and it helps the busyness of my energy and my mind. So I always recommend that. I'm sending love back to you. And thank you for the show making you happy. That makes me feel good. And thank you for the peace feeling. Okay. So let's see. Stephanie. All right. Let's do your number, Stephanie. Cool. 919. Okay. Attitude 1, Stephanie. Personal day 1. And then we have a life path 9 and a cycle of 7. We'll just double check. One. Yep, that's right. Okay. So, Stephanie, you're an attitude 1. And so that is all about making sure that your unique voice is heard and felt inside of you and outside of you. It's all about being unique. It's all about really making sure at every turn that you feel like you're you and you feel like you're in your power. And it's great because one energy is like this beautifully natural, stubborn energy that will just tell people no if they just don't like something, or like if they're just not into it. There's not a lot of peer pressure because they're just like, I don't feel like doing it. Or no, that's not really, my style. So naturally, they have this like resistance to being influenced. That is a superpower, I think. And if they ever find themselves like overwhelmed, where they're just overthinking things of maybe I should be doing this or maybe I should be doing that. It's a sign where, whoa, hold up, something's wrong because you would never do this. That's what I always like to say to people with an attitude 1 placement. Normally, they are quite sure of themselves. So if you ever find yourself in a place where you're not, that's when you really have to step back and to do some healing work, do some restorative work, and get back into your power. Okay. You're a personal day 1, and that's like your most outer shell. And so people actually naturally perceive you as a leader too, as well, or you stand out in crowds, or stand out amongst other people actually quite well. So when someone has that one vibration, you'll kind of remember them more, or they will seem like they sparkle in a certain way. So a lot of people in the entertainment industry have ones. They have other numbers too supporting who they are in different placements, of course. But a lot of times that flashy one will help them get the audition. It will help them get the booking. It helps secure why they are in the place that they're in the place they are. You are a life path 9, and so you have ones and nines. And anytime I see ones and nines together, um, it screams leadership. It screams leadership even if you don't want it. So like a 9 is a leader even though they don't expect it to be, and a 1 is a leader because they prefer to do things where they call the shots. So you're kind of thrust into a lot of leadership energy where you're supposed to be guiding people, you're supposed to be making people um really leave the status quo. You actually would be great. I This is coming up. I know this is random, but actually it'd be kind of great in politics. I don't usually say that a lot. Okay. You'd be great in some type of movement. It doesn't have to be politics, but it could be in some type of movement where you're helping people leave old mentalities behind or old ways of thinking behind, and helping people with, like, let's say, a greater mission or mission statement. When you have numbers like this too, if you want ever, you could actually operate with, let's say, your own business or a charity, even if you wanted to. That's not necessarily what you have to do, but you do have to be in some type of thought leadership movement that comes up first, that has a lot of humanitarianism behind it. Okay. People with like a life path 9, they're very, very connected to social justice, and they're very much connected to, um, sure, I'll do the work if it's the right thing. Sure, I'll show up as long as it's for a good reason. And that's what really furthers their life. And that's what really drives them into so many unique situations that other people would dare not tread in. And again, this is one of the numbers where you have to really have boundaries. Now, your ones help. you have boundaries beautifully, but that 9 placement, just make sure that you're having boundaries where your time is being appreciated, like with money or, with quality people around you, with how you're putting your efforts with helping others. So, giving that to you, you're in a cycle of 7. This is a very important year because a cycle of 7 actually forces you to slow down. So, it won't be the highest production year necessarily. Um, it will be if you answer the following questions: who am I? Why am I here? And what does this all mean to me? And so, how do I want to go forward in my truth? If you can answer those things, actually, there's a lot of abundance in the air. But the 7 is all about self contemplation and realization. And it has to be like in a place where there's a lot of consideration and quiet to come to these answers without distractions. So, heads up with that 7 energy, and yeah, that's what I'm going to give to you. Let me know if that resonates. Let's see. Who is next? Someone says happy 444. Yeah, I had a 444 occurrence yesterday. Oh my gosh, I took the longest nap ever yesterday. I needed it. And I woke up and it was 444. And I was like, that's cool, but oh my gosh, did not expect to sleep until 4:44 p.m. All right. That's cool. Shea, she says, hello, Kelly. My name is Shea and I'm from Captain Cook, Hawaii. What type of question may I ask? You can ask honestly, just as long as it's like you can ask for general reading or something like specific, as long as it's not like crazy complex. Ask away and we'll just like see what we can do. Um when we are doing readings on the show, it's like a snippet. So we get a snippet. And so, like a reading for 30 minutes or an hour, yes, produces much different results. But sometimes we can get really cool things on the show. So, you got to honor that. So, someone's asking about what kind of readings do you do here? Just that's the way we go. Kara is asking for, just jumping back to you, Shea, if you're still okay, you want a general reading. So I'll do you next after Kara. Let's see. Kara, where are you? Kara asks, is there anything on my career this year? Is there anything about your career? Okay. I just felt like I had a sore throat all of a sudden. I don't know if that's Kara or that's Shea. Sometimes I'll just feel things. Sometimes I'm like, it's coming from somewhere. It's about being dehydrated or maybe getting over scratchiness. It's always fun to talk about. Okay. So she's wondering about career. Hmm. Okay. So, Kara, getting some interesting cards. All right. So, something that comes into focus is doing things differently. Okay. Doing things differently than you have done. I got a lot of cards that talking about refocusing the mind, really having like foresight and insight about what makes you happy and about changes being need to be going into effect. So the mind is being stimulated, right? The mind is being engaged, but it's showing me the physical energy card. So it's just about making sure that your body is being taken care of, health and healing. And the brain is physical. So when we're doing physical things for our body, actually our mind works sharper and we're able to actually receive more messages, I believe, because spiritually things are being filtered through our brain. So that's coming into play because as I'm looking at the cards, it's like the conditions aren't quite right, but they're coming into being. And it's kind of like I'm getting the card of there's some agony with like growing and change. And it's like, is this right for me? And there's like, again, I'm aware of some health issues, but also I'm aware of the anxiety about like Are things going to be a really good fit? Like, should I take a chance? And I do think that something needs to change. There's just a lot of anxiety right now. And sometimes we need to go through these periods where we go, okay, it's not the right time, but it's coming up. And in order for me to have something different, my energy has to be different. There's also the card that comes up with the mediumship card. And so when I pull this, it's about like making sure that you're receiving guidance from a higher source from yourself to help like actually quell some of the nervousness, and also using your intuition and honoring when you get certain hits of, am I pushing myself too much? Do I really want what more of what I've, been doing? And if I know that, then that's a no. And so since that's a no, I shouldn't just be taking things that would appear to be easier for me, or would be appear to be like maybe I have, access to getting an interview more easily, things like that, right? And so what's really coming up is taking care of the body, listening to your intuition, and really being in this mental place of positivity and confidence and belief where you can manifest actually what you are looking for. So, not every moment's the perfect moment. I know that, for the goals that I'm looking to do in my life, whether it's this month or this year or going forward, I go, wow, my energy has to be different. I go, I need to accomplish certain things, or I need to take care of myself in a very different way to take on this new load, or to know that I have the capacity to just do it. Sometimes my headspace or my heart space isn't like, it's like, hold on, I need a little bit of time to get me there. The year could have been really hard the previous couple years, and it's just like sometimes we just need healing before we engage on a new adventure or we embark on a new voyage. Okay. So just lots of healing, lots of self care, and really utilize your intuition. And that will help fuel you to know, like, hey, this is no going the easy road, no going the easy road. That's not going to make me happy. My intuition knows that. And since, something bigger than myself is reminding me and my gut is telling me I shouldn't do that, that makes you just put all your energy into the new you that you're creating, and the belief of that it will work, because the other way just doesn't even feel right. So I'm going to give that to you, Kara. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. And then Shaya, you are next. Shaya, I'm getting the sore throat energy from somebody. Shaya, I know that sounds random, Shaya, but like, have you had a sore throat recently? Because it's coming from somewhere. Okay. So general reading. I'm using different cards. I'm using my own cards, and I'm using the Shaman's Dream deck, which is super pretty, just super pretty looking. All the cards are upside down. I appreciate that, Shaya. Like, hey, it's coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but I love when people tell me yes or no, because then I just know, at least it appeases my curiosity. It's like, this doesn't apply, this does apply. It's like, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So, Kara, Kara, have you been having a sore throat? It's coming from somewhere. Thank you, Kara, for it having to make sense. Oh, I like the emoji. I can't completely make it out what you sent. Okay. All right. So Shaya, general read. Let's go into your energy. Okay. I'm taking my time with your cards. Okay. Here we go. So, interesting. Resonating I got a lot of fun, cool cards. Okay. So, whale song. I got the whale song card for you. And so to me, it's about finding like this group where you belong. Okay. The whale song for me, like whales are in pods, they're in packs, they communicate. Sometimes they'll even sing, but they're not solitary animals. At least the way that I think about all the species of whales that I know, some of them are solitary animals. Okay. I'm being too technical with like science. But it's about harmonizing with people, a group. It's about harmonizing with a group, a way of thought. Um and finding something that is your own, but you're not alone in your passion for it. You're not alone in your resources or your, connectivity and what you can pull from it. There's people around you that have interest too and they're willing to share, and you don't have to go at it all alone. And so that's kind of like a feeling that's coming up, like going at things all alone too much. And so like as I was pulling the cards even, I was like, "Oh, okay." Um it's almost like I'm almost feeling as I'm pulling the cards that you're not used to being helped. Either you're not used to being helped or you're not used to being helped in the way that was helpful. So you're kind of like, I'll just do it myself. Like I'd rather just do it myself. I'll figure out a better way. So it's about kind of surrendering, because like the universe, we're all connected in the universe. So it's like it's a huge network of community, whether it's like, star seeds or people who are just not human or everyone on earth, we're also connected. So it's kind of just like embracing the things that work for you and letting the rest fall away, and knowing that you can get places faster when you embrace the things that work for you and know that you don't have to go at it alone. So that comes in pretty strong. And then oh, I like that. So I actually just talked about it, even though I didn't look at the card as I was talking about it. So you got the in the hand card. So that's kind of like the energy that you're drawing from, the energy that you're working with. And you have the description here: the universe is your partner. So it's like finding partnership, right? Using the universe as a partner, using other people as a partner for synergy, but it has to be the right people. And it's kind of like showing that you'll be unstoppable once you find the right group and once you find the right resources. Um, these are in placements where there's kind of like confusion sometimes around these concepts, maybe not in how you think about them, but in kind of finding the right um, energies to fulfill these things. You also got the Dream Thief card. Isn't that just such a fun sounding card? And it's about the refusal. It's about, again, kind of, it's in the same lines of what we're talking about. It's basically like you have certain things that you want to do, and you're just like not really finding the avenue to get there. Yep, this is not working out. I guess this isn't for me. And really, it's just kind of the reminder of everything that I'm saying. The universe is working for you, the universe is working with you. It's undeniable. And people are an expression of the universe. We're all made of stars, we're all made of star stuff. I'm sure you've heard that before. So we're all made of these things that are just so much more than just our bodies. And our consciousness is so much larger than just these forms that we've taken on for, this lifetime. And so you have to find the old souls. You have to find people who have, broken free of their limitations and broken free of just who they've been assigned to be while growing up or who they've been told to be. You got to find people that really are past these concepts and are really old souls and can see things in a unique way and work with you in unique ways to fulfill and also restore some of the confidence you have in people. I really do think. Oh yeah, I think people are I think most, again, I'm not a starseed expert, but I do think a lot of people are starseeds. I think like so we've had multiple lifetimes, and so all of our lifetimes haven't been on Earth. They've been in other points like in the galaxy or even beyond this galaxy. And so we do have lifetimes, um and we have connections where we're predominantly, let's say, maybe more like Syrian or Acturian, or like more like one of the big ones like Palladian, right? They're all big, but I'm just trying to think about the star seeds off the top of my head. Um, so we do have predispositions to that energy from where we've come from past lifetimes. And then some people think like we're actually on missions too, where we are incarnating um actually to this earth, but we are connected to a race before we incarnate to earth. So I actually think a lot of people are star seeds. I don't know how to like define it purely, but yeah, for people who definitely feel like they don't fit in sometimes, there is definitely a star seed connection largely, so look into that. All right, back to the cards. So looking at what we have here, controlled web connectivity, yeah. Okay, so the number one thing is, on one hand, I talked about all this energy of there needs to be more connectivity. There needs to be more understanding about how you fit in, and how you'll find your soul tribe and the people that you'll resonate with. And there's a lot of energy where it gives you peace, but there needs to be a lot of like work involved. Okay, so it's like it's not going to be an easy journey, but you got to put yourself out there and you got to work. So there has to be some type of passion behind it. There has to be some type of fire that keeps burning as you're, going through the trials and tribulations of how does this work? Where exactly do I want to put my efforts in life, and finding people that are awesome. So there's that. But then also there's like a tremendous amount of healing involved, okay? That is coming into play and inviting you to actually reach out for it. Actually, again, it's not going to feel very natural, but there's a lot of healing that is coming into play about you seeing the bigger picture of things, of why you're the way you are and how you will continue to go forward, and to again like release and shed and be like, okay, I get it on a deeper level. Before I was like, what is going on? And now I'm just like, I actually get it. I actually get why I had to go through that. So that's coming into focus in the next couple of years, actually very strongly. It's not going to be easy, but it's actually going to be very rewarding. Okay. And it leads you into these like next couple years of really getting your creativity back, really getting again like your social like self back into how you fit into just everything and how everything supports you. So there's a lot of green colors in here in like the next couple years, and it's just like express, 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 like use your creativity, be inspired. That will help you some of your fire, and that is what I'm getting. So I'm glad you can resonate. I really glad you can resonate and just keep going. Like all of your cards, like it showed me like what you were going through, and it's heavy. And so just find a source of light. Yes, your inspiration and your creativity will help light your fire, but find a source of light through, the difficult times to help get you going too. And that light will help, kindle the fire. But yeah, there needs to be something where you're just like, "Okay, I have faith, or I have trust, because right now it's gonna be a little confusing. So just heads up, this year might be a little confusing, but continue to have the faith, and have that guide you." And that's what's coming in so, so strong. Yes, yes. So I would say my something I'm going to task you with is going within, and finding something that can help you fly, and finding something that you can find that lightness in, that fuels like your belief in self, that makes you feel powerful in your divinity, that connects you to something higher than yourself at the same time. So like, hey, what's happening to me, this is not the complete reality. There's something bigger at play. And I don't know what it is, but let me tune into that energy and let me feel like what that has in store for me, what messages it has in store for me. So that's what I'm tasking you with. Okay. Thank you, Shea. Thank you so much. Mahalo. I love mahalo. That's great. Oh, thank you, Courtney. I'm gonna pull. I have my rainbow child. Courtney, I just read what you said. Let's see. Star seeds. I can only find comfort in old generations. Appreciate their wisdom. No friends under 40. I have my rainbow child. Oh, I gravitate to older people too, Courtney, so I can understand that. I love that. No friends under 40. There's old souls out there though, so it's like I try not to make absolutes, because there might be some crazy awesome old souls out there. But okay, Courtney, let me pull one for you, and then we'll always pull one before we go. Come on, do we have a jumper? All right, this has some energy behind it. Okay. Interesting. I want more clarity on this card, actually. All right. Interesting. Okay, so I got the Watcher's card and the Sacred Contract card. And so this is about, how can I put it? It's about evolving past yourself and past your current beliefs and opening up your mind and having an antenna to spirit to guide you to where you need to go next. So it's like the word on the card is transpersonal, and so for me that's like activating parts of you that are beyond just what you are in this current lifetime. So it's about opening up and becoming a channel and using that to fuel your life and to make a sacred contract with yourself, with manifestations of things that are absolutely on your list of, I would love to do this, I would love to be this, and making yes, a promise to yourself, but most importantly, making a commitment to yourself. And it's not about the end journey. It's just about you understanding within the journey, what goes on with me when I make this commitment to myself? Do I really want this? Or, wow, I never had this before. This is it. This lights me up. This gets me out of bed in the morning. It gets me excited. What happens when you make a commitment to yourself with the things that you most dearly want to manifest? Definitely what happens is the truth comes forward, and just be curious and just be open to that truth with how it wants to light the way on your life, because you might find yourself doing something differently. You might find yourself going into the depths of what you want and manifesting even stronger. But whatever happens, it's the truth, and that's what you need to follow, the journey that leads you to the truth. So I'm going to give you that, Courtney. And with that said, everybody, please have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. We will be back for Friday, and we have the wonderful Althea Gray on. She is a healer, a shaman. Oh my gosh, she's a wealth of knowledge. She has such an extensive background, around the world as a healer. She works with a lot of spiritual leaders today as their healer. So I'm very, very honored and blessed to have her on the show. We will be talking with her in just a couple of days. So with that said, everybody, go with love, luck, and light, and don't forget to live. See you in a couple of days on Friday. Take care. Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.